Welcome back to the channel. We are continuing on today with the manual swap. Hopefully by the end of this video we are going to be able to fire this thing up and test it and make sure everything is moving the way it's supposed to. The transmission shifts, hopefully all the clearances in the clutch, we got nothing rubbing. But we got a couple things we got to button up first. So today got to get the drive shaft and C-beam in. Gonna go ahead and change the U-joints out in this drive shaft while I got it out, clean the C-beam up real nice, and then work on getting that put in. C-beam can be kind of a pain in the butt to get in sometimes, especially getting the bolt holes lined up. Obviously the transmission's got to go up, the pinion will, front of the diff has to come down to get the pinion angle, so that everything lines up smooth and we can get the bolts in. So we'll do a time lapse of that going in. Transmission, once we get all that in, I do have to do the final fill on it, make sure it's full, and got just a little bit of wiring to button up here, and that will be good enough to test it. So I'm not going to throw the exhaust on yet. I'll wait till we get everything finalized, making sure everything's doing what it's supposed to be doing and nothing's making any strange noises, and the transmission has all its gears, because I've never spun this transmission, never shifted it through its gears, so it's been sitting for a while in the donor car. So we're going to hope that that thing's all good and I don't have to pull it out and rebuild it. But other than that, we're just about done here. So we do need to button up a few things in the interior. I still got the seats out and center console out. But that's all minor stuff that we button up when we get time. And then we have tuning to do, which I'll do a full video just on tuning, but none of that's going to be important for making sure the transmission moves and shifts through the gears. The only thing that probably won't work is it won't register speed. At least it won't register it correctly, if it registers at all. The reluctor wheel on the manual trans is different than the auto trans, so that's something I got to adjust in the tune. But it should read significantly off, which is fine, again, for just testing everything out. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll start off with doing the U-joints and getting this C-beam soaked down in some degreaser and soaking while I'm doing that, and we'll just kind of wipe it off and get all that thrown back in there. Okay, we've got the C-beam cleaned up, new U-joints in the drive shaft, and we are ready to go to install. I did want to show you the differences though real quick, because I've never seen anybody do a side-by-side comparison between the auto and the manual C-beams and drive shafts. So we'll start with the C-beam here. So everything's relatively the same. We do have the auto Dana 36 on the side and the Dana 44 manual on the right side here. I've got them lined up pretty close here in the back, and what you'll see in the front is there's about an inch and a half difference in length. And same thing comes for the drive shaft. Got the Dana 44 on the left, Dana 36 on the right for the auto. Lined up pretty close in the back, and you see about that same inch and a half in the front. As well as different spline sizes between the two shafts. Got a much bigger spline compared to a much smaller spline here. But anytime you're doing a manual swap in one of these cars, you definitely need these components unless you're keeping the Dana 36. So you can do the manual swap and keep the same rear diff that's in the auto car, but you got to change out the yoke on the drive shaft still, but you can keep the same length. So the difference in the length is back in the differential. So this differential is slightly longer snout on it, which takes up that inch and a half difference there. So if you are doing a Dana 44 swap into any car, whether it's auto or manual, you do have to have the different drive shaft and different C-beam. Now, this is from my understanding is it's all the difference in the rear diff. I could be wrong, and if I am, someone correct me there in the comments. But for this, we definitely are going to use all of the Dana 44 manual stuff, the shorter C-beam and shorter drive shaft. So that being said, we'll get this auto stuff out of the way, get you set up on a time lapse, and we'll cover installing all this, getting everything torqued down. One other thing I do want to point out real quick, when I put the C-beam up here, the way I do this is I put the C-beam in first, and what I'll do is I'll push it all the way against would be the right side of the car, and I'll move it as far back as I can. So it won't be lined up with these holes. It'll be way back here, and it won't be touching the transmission yet. Once I get it up here, then I'll squeeze the drive shaft in, get everything tightened down for the straps on the U-joint, and then I'll start lifting the transmission up into place and sliding that C-beam forward until we get it into here. Then once I have the 2 bolts started in the back, I'll work on getting the differential 2 bolts started. Once all the bolts are started, you can start evenly torquing them down. So we'll see that in the time lapse. Get you set up so you can see that, and we'll go from there. Got the battery back in this thing, so let's do first fire up, see what it sounds like, see if it has gears or not. So I can see everything in here turned out good. Need to put the final touches on the center console. That'll be back together, and put the seats back in it. But let's power it on and let it think about itself, since it hasn't been started in a while. All right, and see what happens. Got all the gears in reverse. Saw speed come up to about 2 miles an hour, so that's obviously not working, so we'll get the tune sorted on that. A little bit of a squeal, got to track that down. Hopefully it's just the fresh clutch and all that getting worn off. A little bit of cold temperature, so you can see our transit 48 degrees, so it's pretty cold out here today. So yeah, we are making good progress and got that going. So that's going to end it off for today. Probably a relatively short video, but we'll work on getting this interior buttoned up and the tune on it and get underneath it and check everything one last time to make sure it's tight. See if I can track down that little bit of a squeal or see if it goes away with some runtime, and we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in.